Tuukka Rasks has spoken with the media for the first time since leaving the bubble in Toronto during the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Mariah, Janos, and Evan Marinofsky here. When Tuukka spoke today, he basically reiterated everything that he's been saying for months. He wants to be here in Boston. He left for a legitimate reason. His daughter was transported to the hospital. It was bad enough they had to call an ambulance. So hearing all of that and hearing it come straight from his mouth for once, it kind of just reinforces the fact that he was right to leave, family over career, majority of the time.
Yes, and that's the kind of the thing, and I think, obviously it's been talked about, for the past few months, why he left. There was kind of some speculation.
Yep.
He would kind of tell people. I know he'd mentioned it to Greg Hill, and I think he said something about that to Steve Conroy of the Boston Herald, because I know Conroy was the one who had reported that Rask told him that he wanted to be a Bruin past his contract year. But, to hear Rask say it, I know we didn't know the ambulance fact before, the fact that he said, his daughter, they needed to call an ambulance. I mean, I don't have kids. I don't. I don't think you do either. But I can tell you that, if I did have kids and I was up, miles and miles away from them, and I heard that, they needed an ambulance for my son or daughter, I would be home as soon as I possibly could. And I think
if that happened with my dog, I would have flown across the country.
Yes. And I think people kind of forget sometimes, and I get it. I love the passion. Obviously, passion of fans gives us jobs.
Right.
But I think sometimes people forget that, the family does come over the game. It does. And I know people don't like to hear that. I know people say, well, he makes $7 million a year. That is all true. But at the same time, family does come first. And it's clear Rask made the right choice. Obviously, I don't think we would have known if he'd stayed through it and, stayed in the bubble. But I don't know how he could stay in the bubble. And I know that he had, I know he said that it kind of all came together so quickly. But if I remember correctly, Sweeney had said something about, that they knew the situation like this could arise. But, so I think that was on Rask's mind the entire time of camp back in August and then going up to the bubble. But good to hear Rask say that his daughter's doing a lot better and doing well, and that his family situation's good. I know Cassidy had said that on Tuesday to us. So I think he's doing well, and I think he's fully in it.
Absolutely. And you can tell that his team and his coach are behind him. Bruce Cassidy saying that he's getting 33 to 34 starts this season. That's more than 50%. So yes, you still got Halak, but Tuukka Rask will be the starting guy in net. That just shows, that reinforces their confidence in them. They have zero doubt. Him leaving the bubble had nothing to do with his ability to get the job done and be the starter for this team going forward, right?
No, exactly. And that's kind of the thing I think that, it's good to hear is that, they didn't, I remember when this first happened, when Rask first left the bubble, everyone, including myself, was wondering, is he done in Boston? Is this it? Because you didn't know the reason he left. That was sort of the first reaction was like, why is he leaving? He said it didn't feel like playoff hockey. But now hearing the reason, I don't think, and this team is fully behind him. So it doesn't surprise me that they're going to give him that amount of starts. I know Cassidy had also said that whoever's the better guy obviously is going to play. That's sort of the case every year and on every team with every kind of goalie. But to me, it's pretty clear that obviously he's their guy. He also said in his presser today, and obviously he told Steve Conroy back, and I think it was October, that he plans on being in Boston forever. He doesn't want to play anywhere else. He wants to be here, which can kind of be a curse because Krug said the same thing. Chara said the same thing. You don't know. And I think, Tuukka Rask's contract is something that is going to be brought up a lot this year, and kind of what does he get? What does he deserve? How long should the term be? I think that's actually going to be a very, very controversial issue that we talk about at great length, not in this video because we're going to save that. Right now we'll focus on the fact that he is, going to play a good amount. And Cassidy also said that he could see more time because of, the shorter schedule, the less travel. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out.
It definitely will. Now, you were at day 1 and 2 of training camp. How did he look when you saw him?
He looked great. I mean, he looked fine. I'll be honest. I didn't think he looked bad. Obviously, it takes, goalies a while to kind of get into it on the ice. But I mean, it's clear he's the best goalie out there. I don't think there's any doubts. He actually said to us today that he's been working out at Warrior since August. So he's been there since he came home. And I think he's locked in. I would not be surprised to see Rask play really well this year and have a similar year to last regular season. This year, I don't think there's any signs of a regress. You know, he's moving well in the net. He looks good. Obviously, you know, we'll see what happens in the scrimmages, because I think that's sort of what we're all kind of waiting for. But I don't think the question marks aren't really around Rask right now. I feel like everyone's kind of in on the fact that Rask is probably going to be still pretty elite this year.
Yeah, I think the only question mark was, like you said, that uncertainty when he left the bubble and nobody knew why. And so people jumped to the conclusions of he doesn't want to be there. Everybody's dealing with a tough time in the bubble. But once it came out, his legitimate reason, it's like, you can't blame him, move on. There's no other concern.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that pissed people off at the time, and this makes a little bit of sense, was he kind of sprung this on the team very quickly. He left without telling anyone. He didn't, you know, I remember Halak kind of got told on the team bus. Like, it was very like spur of the moment type thing. But now knowing what's known now, it makes sense that he kind of just got out of there as fast as humanly possible. He even said that today. It only made sense for him to go home. So he made the right choice. And I don't think there's a reason to second guess it, because they're kids and they're the most important thing in a father's life.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. So everyone get off his back until he gives us a reason to piss us off during the season. For all
No, don't say that. People will find reasons. People will find many reasons.
They will always find a reason. He'll play perfectly and there will still be a reason. So, I mean, you can't please everyone. It is what it is, especially here in Boston. For all of our Bruins coverage, head to clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Bruins Rinkside.